Bitcoin, 24 seed words right up here in your head, move countries, you're good to go.
Originating from deep inside the Rocky Mountains, transported through the power of the internet, and arriving inside your tiny earbuds. It's the Appraiser Coach podcast, helping appraisers increase their efficiency, quality, and make more money. Here's the guy who makes it his life's mission to create value for real estate appraisers nationwide. Your host and the Appraiser Coach, Dustin Harris.
Hello, my friends. Welcome to the program. Dustin Harris hanging out in the podcast chair. Always good to be with you. I appreciate you joining me. We, of course, are sponsored by the Great Working RE magazine. I say the Great Working RE magazine because, well, it's great. It is where I go to find out more about the career that I've chosen, which is real estate appraisal. Check them out by going to workingre.com. Again, workingre.com. And of course, we are sponsored by Synapse. Synapse for appraisers.com is where you go to find out more about this great program that can help to support your adjustments. Synapse for appraisers.com. All right, folks, I know I'm a nerd. I get it. In fact, we just got back from the Elevate Appraiser Retreat a couple of weeks ago. And if there is any regret at all that I have, and it's not really a regret, but it's kind of a regret. It was so outside the norm of what we were learning that if I have a regret, it would probably be to cut out the hour that I spent talking about Bitcoin. Not because it's not important, not because I didn't mean with passion everything that I taught, but because Bitcoin's one of these things that if you know, you know. And I'm not saying that in a superior way. I'm not saying that if you know, you're better than anybody else. I'm just saying that it's one of those things that's kind of like the Matrix, right? You got the blue pill, you got the red pill. I'm going to call the Bitcoin the orange pill, right? So do you take it? Do you not take it? And if you take the blue pill, what happens? Well, you wake up the next morning and everything's the same. Nothing's changed. You take the red pill and everything's different, right? You take the orange pill of Bitcoin and everything's different. But the problem is presenting Bitcoin to a group of people that don't know much about Bitcoin is kind of like presenting a new religion, right? Most people are going to look at you like, what did I just sign up for? Okay. So out the hour that I spent talking, not because it's not, I didn't mean with passion everything that I taught. Bitcoin's one of the, you know, and I'm not better than anybody else. Those things that's kind of like you got the blue pill, orange pill, right? Take it, do you not take it? And if it happens, well, you wake up the next, nothing's changed. You things different, right? You everything's different. But the problem is Bitcoin to a group of people that is kind of religion, right? You like, what? Okay. So take it, do you not take it? And if nothing's changed, you things different, right? You everything's different. But the problem is All right, folks, I'm going to give you, and these are not scripted. This is off the top of my head. I could probably give you 10, 20, 25 reasons why you should look into Bitcoin. Okay. I'm going to give you a couple, maybe 5 today. Again, no particular order. Okay. But I want you to take a look at it because, first of all, it is not crypto. One of the things that somebody at the retreat raised their hand and said is, what is the difference in your mind between Bitcoin and all the other cryptos? Okay. And I use the old line that you'll hear as you start to get into the Bitcoin rabbit hole, that there's Bitcoin and then there's shitcoin. Okay. Sorry for the French, but there's Bitcoin and then there's all the other crypto. Is Bitcoin crypto? Yes. Is all crypto Bitcoin? Not a chance. Bitcoin was the first. Bitcoin is the best. Satoshi Nakamoto, who developed the Bitcoin, again, it's a pseudonym. We don't know actually who it is. He, she, it, they, we don't know. But Bitcoin is it, folks. Number one, and this is probably the biggest thing out there, and this is the only one that's like this, right? There's a hard capped digital scarcity with Bitcoin, okay? 21 million is all there will ever be, okay? And by the way, we've already mined over 19 million, maybe even close to 20 million at this point. There's not much more to mine out there. And it's going to take, we already know, over 100 years to get that last million Bitcoin. What does that mean, folks? Scarcity is one of the founding reasons why the value is there, right? Supply and demand. It's the old adage, okay? There's only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoin. Now, some would say, well, gold is like that too, Dustin. Well, really? Yeah, there's only so much gold in the earth. Okay, I'll give you that. But even if that were true, what about, and don't laugh because this actually happens, what about asteroids coming to the earth with gold in them? That does happen. I didn't make that up, folks. What about the fact that I just read a couple of days ago where the old idea of alchemy is now reality? Scientists have actually created gold, okay? And here's the bottom line, folks. There's a lot of gold still in the earth, and that's really the cheapest way to get gold. It's not through asteroids. It's not through alchemy. It's through mining. And as gold gets more expensive, guess what ramps up? Gold production, gold mining. That cannot happen with Bitcoin, okay? Next one, okay? The outlier returns and asymmetric upside to Bitcoin, okay? Over the last decade, compounded, okay, about 230% per year, about 10 times the NASDAQ 100, about 15 times the S&P 500, okay? Now, if you take out the first few years, you're still looking at a 60% plus return on your investment, okay? You can get that return right away, and you don't have to deal with all these other things that are hard to understand, okay? That's number 2. Number 3, we are past the point of risk, in my opinion. Okay. Anytime, I would say before 2023, maybe 2022, Bitcoin was very speculative. Okay. It's always been volatile. And by the way, volatility, in my opinion, is a plus, not a minus. Okay. It just shows the value that's there and the people that are jumping in and jumping out. Okay. Playing the game, if you will. I'm there to hold long term. Okay. But these returns are astronomical. And you have many countries, businesses, Wall Street, Main Street, both, they all want in. We're talking people like JP Morgan, BlackRock, Fidelity, okay? The rest have flipped from dismissive, and you can see quotes from all of these CEOs years ago that are basically comparing these things to Bitcoin to junk, right? That are now all in. In other words, the risk of not having support in the marketplace are gone. You've got the strategic Bitcoin reserve that are going through the US, okay, and the current administration. Folks, the idea that this is a speculative investment, in my opinion, is wrong. By the way, I should have started with this. I'll say it now. I'll probably say it before I end. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is just Dustin Harris for entertainment purposes only. Okay. Number 4, this, my friends, is a hedge. We talked about gold. Okay. This is a hedge and a long-term store of value. This is a capital investment, not a speculative investment. Okay. So number 4, this is a macro hedge that is starting to behave more and more like gold. And by the way, in my opinion, it's better than gold. I've already given you one reason. Gold is not infinite. Okay. There is the ability to get more gold. Okay. The scarcity that is found in the 21 billion Bitcoin is one thing, but the ability to, let me ask you this. Let's say you got your wealth in gold and you, for some reason, need to go to a different country. How are you going to carry that gold to that new country? Bitcoin, 24 seed words right up here in your head, move countries, you're good to go. Okay. So that's the other one. The biggest one and most important one, in my opinion, that maybe I should have started with, but I'll end with. Okay. Self-custody, sovereignty, and freedom. Okay. Bitcoin to me represents something that banks, businesses, individuals have zero control over. We are well past the question mark of will the government ban it? Can the government ban it? The answer is no and no. Okay? That means no. No means no. Okay? We're past that. Now, have there been countries like China that have banned it? I think like 17 times. Yeah. Why do you have to ban it 17 times if the first one worked? It doesn't work. Okay? The ability you have to go through 0 third parties, folks. That to me is worth everything. Okay. So why do I talk about this on the Appraiser Coach podcast? I will tell you, folks, of all the things that I've talked about over this last year on this microphone, to me, this is the most important. And that's why I brought it up in the retreat. Was it a little outside the norm of what we were talking about? Sure. Do I regret it? Maybe, but maybe not. Because if one person took that information and said, you know what, Dustin may be onto something and I don't know enough about it. By the way, if you think you're too late to the game, you're wrong. We're actually in a very sweet spot. Okay. Do I wish I'd gotten into Bitcoin in 2014 when it was in the hundreds of dollars? Yeah. Right. I think my first Bitcoin purchase was made in 2022 or 2023. And at that point, it was simply a speculative investment. I don't look at it that way anymore. I look at it as a store of value, long-term store of value. And folks, we are past the point of it being risky, but before the boom. Okay. I am very, very bullish on the Bitcoin market, but I believe that we are yet to see the explosion. I do believe, as of this recording, it's about $106,000 per Bitcoin. I believe that by the end of 2025, first part of 2026, it will be at 200,000. And I believe it's going to the moon after that. I see Bitcoin down the road at being $1 million and possibly topping $10 million per coin. So are you too late? I don't think so. I'm going to end where I was in the middle. This is not financial advice. Invest at your own risk. Educate yourself. But if I can convince you of one thing, it's not to go get into Bitcoin. It's to learn more about Bitcoin. Love to talk to you about it. If you want to hear more, reach out to me, the coach, TheAppraiserCoach.com. Thank you for joining me today, folks. And as always, go create some value.
You've been listening to the Appraiser Coach podcast with Dustin Harris. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and post a short review on iTunes. For more in-depth insider information on how you can make more money as a real estate appraiser, visit TheAppraiserCoach.com and sign up for the All-Star team today. Thanks for joining us. And now, get out there and create some value.